Hello, and welcome to another episode of Empowering Equality, the Inclusive Workplace and Supply Council of Canada, or IWSCC's podcast on all things supplier diversity. I'm your host, Alex Dirksen, and I'm so thrilled to have a conversation with today's guest, Delisa Abraham. Welcome, Delisa.
Thank you for having me here, and everyone that's listening, welcome. Hi.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Delisa, you're a business owner, and your business, Faith and Sparkles World, is an IWSCC certified supplier. Can you tell us a little bit about Faith and Sparkles World and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. So myself personally, I am a leadership coach, mentor, and a speaker, and we also publish books. We specialize in children's books, particularly because my daughter is an author. So that is what Faith and Sparkles World is all about. We're here to empower the next generation, including my own generation as well as guide others in leading, in leadership, and in that inner strength.
That's fantastic. It sounds like you really link the two worlds, sort of the opportunities through the books for the younger generation and opportunities to learn for older professionals too.
Yes, 100%.
So it sounds like your business serves a big range of clients, but is there, do you have an example of the kinds of clients that your business usually works with, just so that we can understand a little better?
Absolutely. So because my focus is on leadership, I work a lot with parents. So parental leadership is one aspect of it, as well as entrepreneurs. I found a lot of entrepreneurs come to me, work with me, ideally women. A lot of women who are in the leadership position, and they're wanting to have that balance between their home life, their work life, as well as leading a team. And so because of my experience with the military, because of my experience working with corporate and nonprofit and leadership positions, it just melded together. It's just this whole natural flow that works well. And I've been receiving really great feedback, testimonials from clients who are happy with the service they've received and with the training that they've received. Because the minute we start, you begin implementing it, so you can start seeing the results.
That's great. It sounds like you're working with other entrepreneurs. You're an entrepreneur's entrepreneur.
Oh, that's a good one to put it. I like that one. I'll use that.
Excellent. Happy to help contribute another positive testimonial. Can you maybe share with us, just so that we can learn a little bit more, maybe a recent project or a project that you're particularly proud of, so that we can get to know the finer details of how you work with your clients?
Yes. So, I have 3 different items or 3 programs. I have a 90-minute session, which is more of an empowered strategy session. And then I go into my mid-ticket item, which is 3-month program. And then I have a 6 to 9-month program. But each one, it escalates. In the 3-month program, working with me, this is one-on-one coaching. And we check in every week, and we start off in the beginning to figure out not only what is the issue, but how to solve it. And we work on creativity. We work on how to create that space for the team. So if there's a business owner, they come and they say, this is my issue. I want to work on my leadership. We start identifying the areas within the business and within themselves that need that support, and we start targeting it. So once that first month of identification and then looking at how we can resolve it, then that's the beginning process. The second month with me, now we start implementing the strategies, the tactics, and more importantly, the systems. Because without systems and some of the automations, we would not be sleeping. So we need systems in place. So we start really implementing the systems, and we start getting the members of the team involved as well, because there will be some changes. So specifically, the leaders of a specific department or area, even if it's yourself and one other person, you have to, I work with the leaders so that they can train up those that they've placed in positions to be able to lead their team, even if it's their own self. And the reason why that's important is so that the entrepreneur, the person that I'm working with, they are not boggled down and stressed out and filled with anxiety over areas that they've passed on to the other. And that's a big part. So now they start seeing even more results. And then we start implementing certain strategies and things in place where they need that further support. And then in the third month, the final month, it's looking at the business holistically and then onward beyond the 3 months with me. So this is just like a quick overview of it. Now, on top of that, I do provide VA services. So I do have my own team that can work with the entrepreneur so that they can get that specific support. Although they may have a team in marketing or social media management, there's always that one area that they will need a little touch up. For example, the website, the SEO, the optimizations and the different areas. So that is what my team will come in and support whatever they have going or help them to build that. Because there are some people who have been solopreneurs and now they want to grow, but it's like, well, how do I align with the right people of the team? How do you find the right people? How can you align with them? And so that is one of the other major piece that I work with my clients, because I find that it has been extremely helpful. So I use that mid-tier, that 3-month program, because that's the same program that I use for the 6 months. It's just a bit more in depth. And we go more, it's more refined. And then in the 90-minute session, it's just 90 minutes. And it's like a very quick overview. And I give you some support and like guidance of where you can go to get that support and some strategies to implement. And then, of course, we have the, oh my goodness, it fails my memory right now, but we have our membership space. Yes, our membership space that just came up. So yeah, that's really the program. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It sounds like you get to know your clients and probably what sounds like a real range of them, understand their business in a holistic way, make a plan of action and help them execute to improve their businesses. And that's really fantastic.
Absolutely. And that's what all leaders do. I think people forget, like when they think leadership, one, they're thinking more of a militant style or a more authoritarian style. And when you think leadership, I completely understand, because for so many centuries, leaders tend to come from the military, depending on which country you're coming from and so on and so forth. But it's taking my experience and my training, not only in the military, but outside of it, as well as my passion for what I do and looking at it, as you mentioned, holistically, that holistic viewpoint, because as a leader, you have to look at things from above. You have to see things far, you have to see things near, and you really have to know when and how to move. If you don't know how to do that, you become stagnant, you can become stuck. The vision becomes limited. And so you're not sure how to maneuver. And finances is such a huge part in that piece as well, because maybe you're looking for that additional income. I do speaking, so speaking helps me as well, so I can start bringing income into the business. And so we're looking at all of these spaces where you can maximize what you're doing, get the reach that you need to get, as well as ensuring that the team that you have, they have a solid foundation that's supporting them. So when they're doing their work, they're confident in what they're doing.
Absolutely. And it sounds like you've mentioned a few times now that the experience that you have contributes to that belief in empowering leaders. Can you tell me a little bit more about what led you to start your business, to choose entrepreneurship? How did you find yourself where you are now?
Oh. Well, fun fact, funny story. Faith and Sparkle's world started because of my daughter, not me. My daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yes. Yeah, she wanted to share her story of kindness and compassion. And so the company really began with the books. And Sparkle is our dog who just passed recently. Faith
Oh, I'm
wanted
sorry to
to.
hear.
Oh, thank you so much. She's been a huge part of the family for many, many years. Um, yeah, so Faith really wanted to share her message of kindness and compassion, and really wanted to empower other children to know, you are your own superhero and you can do things to be able to support yourself and your family. That came from her experience when her grandmother was sick with cancer. And once the business started, because of my own experience and my own coaching outside of what I was doing, parents started to come to me and ask me these questions. How do I raise confidence and self-esteem in my son or my daughter? How do we, how do I lead my home? Because I'm not sure how to have that conversation with my daughter who's now being bullied, or my son whose friends are actually bullying him, and all of these things. And so with that is how the company expanded. And I, really started this mother-daughter duo, which is very rare because normally it's separated, right? These two entities will be separated. But I was like, no, just keep it together. It's working. Why not?
So it sounds like just like the way that your business gets to know your clients on a really personal level, your business itself is a really personal endeavor that pulls from your experience, pulls from your family, and pulls from your relationships.
Yes, of course, 100%. And I think that that's one of the best way to do it, because when you're doing something that you love, even in the hard times, you will still do it. It will be hard and you see the challenges, but then you're like, no, like your will gets even stronger. Your heart is into it. You are actually willing to do the work to figure out, how am I going to get out of this situation? And so that's what I'm finding a lot of the difference between some people that, like, I can't, this is too much. And there are times when you just have to say, I have to close the business. This is not working. You need to reassess, which works, and that's fine. But you will see those who are like, this is what I'm meant to do. Even when I'm faced with so much adversity and tons of challenges, I'm still staying the course. I'm going to get help. I'm going to invest in myself to figure out what I need to do. I'm going to invest and bring other people who knows what they're doing on board, because I believe and I know in my heart that this is my purpose. This is how I'm supposed to be contribute to humanity for the better.
Yeah, that over, under, around, and through mindset, I think is such an incredible part of entrepreneurship and is a great mindset to have. When it comes to entrepreneurship and your business and being on the show today as well, your business is IWSCC certified. Can you tell me, what does being IWSCC certified mean to you?
Oh, I love that. Before I even found out about, WSICC, all the letters. Sorry.
We have that effect on people.
Yes, it's like all the letters, right? Before I found out, I found it very challenging. I wanted to get into corporate. I wanted to, expand in a different way. And being a veteran and also having a disability, it was challenging because you need the support, and I did not know where to get the support, how to get the support, and also expand the business with the vision that I had. And joining and getting that certification makes it a lot easier. Me being able to show up and being in the same room with, some of the decision makers in HR who previously I would not have had that opportunity, or perhaps I would have to pay a ridiculous amount of money for somebody to write me a proposal or something to maybe perhaps get an audience with someone in HR that's making the decisions. being part of this program has been so incredible for me because not only have I learned, not like just showing up to not only the events, but the training session, watching some of the podcasts for those that have gone through it, as well as understanding what it is that they want. What is it that the members in the corporate, in terms of not just leadership, but in specifically what I would share, parental leadership, what do they need? And how is my program really going to align with their need to solve the problem, to support their growth? And without being part of this program, I would not have had not only the competence, but also the audience, right, to present. I wouldn't have had that, and it would have made the business a lot harder and make my vision even more limited because I would not have known how to expand my horizons.
Absolutely. I mean, that's fantastic to hear. Here at the IWSCC, we know that the world of procurement and doing business with big business, especially as a small business, can be a pretty tall hurdle to overcome sometimes. And we are absolutely all about helping veteran-owned businesses and disabled-owned businesses make those connections, empower their businesses to grow, and in your case, to help other businesses succeed and grow too. Mm-hmm. In the case of your business, as a relatively newer supplier to the IWSCC, mm-hmm. do you feel like it's had any effect on your business or on you since you certified?
Oh, yes. Honestly, doing the 5-minute pitch that you guys have, like that has been a game changer because yes, we get the information after, but like, it really puts you on the spot to know specifically and craft out like your talk in 5 minutes. And it's not even just a talk, because even with the proposal that you have to submit, you really need to know what you're doing. You have to be extremely clear. And because of that, when I was rebranding from last December, and we're like literally now finishing up the website and all those other spaces, that the 5 minutes that we had and all those things, it made me think, okay, are we being clear in our message when we're putting up the information? Are people confused when they come on? How is our funneling system? Like that 5-minute session, and I've been to a few of them, really helped me in structuring and laying out the information so that anyone that comes on, they can just go, oh, click here. It makes it easy, like that easy navigational system. So some people may not think that it can help, but I utilize the 5 minutes in another way so that I can get the other things organized and clear and really targeted. So when I do send in my proposal, it makes it just like seamless and effortless.
Yeah, that's great to hear. We talk a lot about the elevator pitch and that opportunity, that 15 seconds that you have to introduce yourself. And honestly, in this day and age, the age of information and the internet, it can feel a little bit like every moment is an elevator pitch. The attention spans are so short and there's so much access to information, to businesses, to entrepreneurs to work with, that having an understanding of the best way to communicate your business and the way that it can serve your clients, the way that it can help others, is a real asset. So I'm super, super happy to hear that our matchmaking sessions help empower that in your business.
Huge.
And when it comes to sort of communicating and sharing information about your business, I have a few more questions in our chat today, but we're almost out of time. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with our audience about Faith and Sparkle's world? Maybe the best way to contact you, or a program that you've got coming up? Anything exciting? Any new news?
Yes, of course. So every month I host a free webinar. And so March is a very special month, Women Empowerment. So there's that one. But I will share with you, Alex, our free ebook called The Transformational Leadership, for your audience to be able to download and use, as well as you can find me at faithandsparklesworld.com, or just go online, Faith and Sparkles World, and follow us along. We're always providing valuable information, beneficial, easy to implement, like right at this moment in your life or in your business, so that you can start seeing the tangible results. And we're here to support your growth. And so the community that we're building, I don't see it, and neither does my daughter. We don't see it as just a business. This is a community. We're building a family here. And with that, when we're providing information, when I'm providing information or doing talks, it is to ensure that you're getting the best. And the reason why I want you to get the best is because I see you as the best, and I want you to see yourself that way. So I will share that information, the transformational leadership ebook that we have. It's a free download, as well as follow us on Faith and Sparkles World, and go online, faithandsparklesworld.com.
Excellent. Yeah. And if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, you'll find all that information in the description. We'll be sure to share that with you so that you can check out Faith and Sparkles World as fast as possible and get to know them a little better. Before we head out, I always like to end these conversations with a little bit of a lightning round to get to know you a little better. I know we've talked a lot about business. And maybe this is a little bit of business for myself, but in another life, I was a humble fry cook. I'm making all day breakfast, and it was a good time before I joined the IWSCC and helped connect businesses with new opportunities. So breakfast is super important to me as a former all day breakfast guy. What would you say is your favorite breakfast food?
Oh, that's hard. I love breakfast food.
I mean, hey, I'm happy to hear that. Me too.
I know. I guess. Oh, this is a tough question. I know it's
when you think of you're out at a diner. Are you a diner breakfast person?
Sometimes, not too much. But I would say, like,
sometimes not much of a greasy spoon. I understand.
I would say like a salmon eggs Benedict is really nice. I like that. Oh. But you know what really gets me nice? You know how they have like those Mediterranean breakfasts and they like saute up some of the like they blister the cherry tomatoes and they have the asparagus that they just like. I love that with some olives for breakfast. Like I love those nice vegetable kind of breakfast, or it just gets you going with a nice cup of tea. But if I'm
sounds like you're a real start the day with a healthy breakfast kind of person.
Kind of sometimes. And then there are days you just need some really good waffles with syrup and fruit on top.
Absolutely.
Like,
I know sometimes I'm sure there's maybe a lot of professionals in the audience that can relate to this too. Sometimes I'm even just a coffee for breakfast person, although I know it's not the best for me. But hey, we love to always try something new. I'm going to be thinking about salmon eggs Benny for the rest of my day. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And when you've got some spare time, when you're not working on Faith and Sparkles World, and you've got some time for yourself, what do you like to do to relax? What's maybe a favorite hobby?
I love to read. I'm a reader. I love reading. And I also like the spa and nature. Oh gosh, it's kind of like breakfast. Why you come? These are hard questions. But my most number one thing, these are hard questions. My number one most favorite thing to do is read. I love reading because it just, I don't know, it's so exciting. It takes you in this whole other world, and it really opens up my mind and my spirit and my heart, and it changes all the actions that I would take. It really does, because now it's like, how do I implement it? Like, I'm not just a reader. I read, I digest it, and then I think, okay, how can I implement this in my life in this moment? So I have like this 3-part process. This is probably why I'm always reading, and sometimes it takes me a longer time to read a book.
Hey, if you're always reading, then you're always learning. I think that anyway. My last question for today, and maybe something a little bit for our audience as well. What's a piece of good advice? It can be for business, or it could just be for life.
This one is easier versus your breakfast questions. This one is much easier. The one thing that I would say to anyone is really stay the course. When something is in your heart, once you know this is the path you're supposed to go, and of course it's for the betterment of all, right? Stay the course and really learn to tap in, learn to love yourself, learn to tap into your inner wisdom. Yes, there's going to be others and you'll get the revelations and they will, guide you and all of those things, but get to know yourself so well, master yourself to such a degree that you are so comfortable with who you are, because you will get that wisdom, you will get the revelations, you will get the guidance and the support that you would need, and stay the course. And you would see success will follow you one after the other after the other. It may not come all at once, because sometimes we want all the things at once, but celebrate all those little successes as you've mastered yourself and you stayed the course. Celebrate and enjoy those successes because you are doing what you're meant to do.
Amazing. Well, Delisa, thank you so much for joining us today. It was so wonderful to have you on the show. And thank you to our audience for joining us. Empowering Equality is hosted by the Inclusive Workplace and Supply Council of Canada, or IWSCC, connecting disabled-owned and veteran-owned businesses with opportunities across Canada. A big thank you to Pod Supply for producing this episode, and to our sponsor, RBC. Our 2024 ASL leader, RBC, helps us provide American Sign Language for our show and for all of our events, and that interpretation is supplied by Maple Communications Canada. If you want to learn more about the IWSCC, you can find us at www.iwscc.ca. If you want to learn more about Faith and Sparkles World, you'll find those links in the description, so be sure to check those out. And if you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, then be sure to like, subscribe, favorite, or follow the show, the IWSCC, and Faith and Sparkles World. Thanks again for joining us. Stay the course and keep on empowering equality.